Okay, so I had a comment request on asking how I approach transcribing something. Um, so first of all, I'm not very good at transcribing stuff. My ears aren't great. I'm not great at writing stuff down in notation. So I am not a great transcriber. Um, so, I mean, normally I'm fairly competent at what I'm describing in videos. So I would normally feel pretty comfortable recommending stuff. This video, maybe take it more as an opinion piece than absolute gospel. So that out of the way. First thing, short version of this video is just go figure shit out with your ears. Just go do it. If you turn this video off now, just start doing it. That's probably actually more helpful than watching this video, and it's much more important. If you're here for the long haul, first reason you should transcribe is because it's a lot of fun. Yep. Basically, you get to listen to your favorite music and play guitar at the same time. So that's really cool. The second reason is that just as a musician, you should be able to hear accurately what people are saying musically. You can't expect to contribute something in a conversation where you don't understand what you're hearing. Same thing with music. Do you really think, say, for example, for those of you who want to be a professional musician. So for hobbyists, you can learn from tabs all you like. You can do whatever you like, full stop. But if you want to be a serious musician, or even, say you want to have a good covers band, working on your ears will be a massive help in learning tunes, in memorizing tunes. It's great stuff. Like you don't see, for example, hit single comes out, there's no tabs up for it yet. Your band says, hey, let's do this new number one. Are you really going to be the guy going, oh yeah, they don't have any chord charts up on UG yet, I can't learn the song? Because that's going to be pretty embarrassing, The longer you put off working on your ears, the more this kind of thing will happen. And I know this because it kind of has happened to me, this kind of thing where, for example, like I'm teaching a band camp and some kids suggest an obscure tune and I have to spend ages figuring out all the parts because my ears are bad, or at least this was back in the day. So don't put it off. Get to it. Professional musicians do not need tabs to learn shit. You shouldn't either. Third reason is that you should work on your ears because it boosts your creative output. Trying to be a good composer without good ears is like trying to be a good blind painter. It's nonsensical. You need to be able to hear an idea in your head accurately, not just, oh, I kind of want to write a cool riff and it's a very vague concept. You need to be able to hear something exactly in your head so it's clear, so you can picture every note, how it goes. And once you get good at this, you'll be able to hear the other instruments as well. You'll be like, this is the riff I want, these are the drums I want, this is the bass I want, this is the second guitar part. You'll hear it all accurately up in your head. And then, the other side of good ears is you'll be able to play all that stuff. You'll be able to just hear it in your head and go, oh yeah, this is where it is on my instrument. So, yeah, once again, just start going and figuring stuff out now. Like now. And the nice thing as well with YouTube stats, I can see when people stop watching the video. So I want to see a great big dip, like there. Now, on to how I actually approach transcribing. A lot of people use the term transcribe to kind of mean just figuring stuff out with your ears. Technically, transcription is also actually writing it down in notation, but I kind of suck at that. And the first part is more important, the figuring out by ear. So first thing I'd suggest for transcription is to get a program that allows you to loop a section of a recording. So it's not very glamorous, but there's a free program called Best Practice, and there's a slightly better program which is paid called Amazing Slowdowner. And this is because otherwise, I'm going to name drop Guthrie Govan here, you spend half your life pressing the rewind button. So you'll be listening to a thing, try and hear it in your head, and you'll try and figure it out, and then you'll pause it, you'll try and figure it out a couple more times, and you'll have forgotten it, you'll rewind, and you'll press play. And you just spend so much time rewinding and playing, it's obscene. So get something to loop the section you want to figure out. That's really useful. Those programs also have slowdown features and transposition features. So if, for example, you're figuring out Guns N' Roses, you can't be bothered tuning down to E flat, you can just tune them up to you, figure it all out, sorted. So like normally when I start figuring something out, I can make some intelligent guesses. So if it's Metallica, I guess it. Is that an E? Is that an E in the recording? Okay, good. So they're tuned to E standard. It's going to be pedaling off this note. I've got something to work off. If you have a certain amount of theory knowledge, for example, you know about scales and chords, that's awesome. It cuts down a huge amount of work. If you can just hear a couple of notes and go, oh yeah, they're in E major. And then you have a good idea for guessing the rest of the notes if you have to, or it's easier for your ear to find the correct notes and your fingers to find the correct notes if you know they're going to be playing within a scale that you know already. Okay, another thing you can do if intelligent guessing fails is brute force. So you've listened to it a bunch of times, you're just not sussing it. It's just not coming to you. Then I would start brute forcing it. So what I'll do is I'll listen through to the first note, I'm not sure what it is, and I'll stop and I'll find that note on my guitar. And I'll just repeat that process. And sometimes what happens is after a couple of those you go, wait a minute, that's how it works. So a riff I did recently, the Phobon Nika riff, or whatever it's called from Village Guardi's first album. Like, that riff was really difficult for me to work out until I just brute forced it, and then I got like 3 or 4 notes from the riff and I was like, oh, this is how the whole thing works. So don't get demoralized. You can, if you just sit, listen, figure out one note at a time, you will eventually get it. And I'd like to say that this will get a lot quicker with time. Finally, name dropping Guthrie again, when I was talking to him in Sweden, he said that a lot of the times when he's struggling with things, stupid stuff will help. So like he'll turn his headphones the wrong way around, or only listen to the left channel or only the right channel. He'll play it through different speakers. All that kind of stuff can help if you're lost. But what I prefer to do is ask a friend. So yeah, I just ask a buddy of mine what he hears. And even if I disagree, like even if he says he hears something and I don't hear it, you know, that gives me more information to work on when I'm going back to transcribing stuff. Finally, like I said, I'm not very good at transcribing, both the figuring out or the writing down. So what I'm going to try and do is get in touch with a couple of guys I know who are actually really, really good transcribers, you know, who have worked professionally transcribing some of the best guitar players in the world. And I'll see if I can get them to post up videos, at which point I will link them, and I'm sure it'll be much more useful than this. Okay, hope that cleared things up.